Hi everyone, thanks all for joining us on the first ever Women in Control live virtual panel. I'm super excited to be doing this. Like, this is the first time I've ever done anything of this kind, and I feel like we're all just going through like a really weird, crazy situation at the minute, and I still think it's really important that we all connect and keep in touch. And you know, all my events, everything that I had planned for Women in Control was completely cancelled, so I really don't want that to stop us communicating and sharing stories. So on the panel today, we're going to be discussing, like, obviously the coronavirus and how it's affecting all of us in our income and our work and day-to-day lives, because it's going to have affected all of us massively. We're going to be talking about all the resources that we know and have available to us. And I've done a blog post and put that up online, so I'll make sure that I share that at the end, and any resources that we all talk about, we'll make sure that everybody that is on the live and views this afterwards that gets a copy of that as well. So first of all, yeah, I'd love to hand over to all the panelists and get them to introduce themselves. I wanted to make sure that I pulled a mix together of people from different situations with their work. So myself, I'm a business owner, self-employed, and we've got freelancers, self-employed and employed as part of the panel, and they're all Women in Control ambassadors. So yeah, I'd love to hand over to you guys to introduce yourselves.
So my name is Wardah Sempa, and I currently am the editor of Link Up TV, and I also do PR for Wicked Gummy Co, which is a nutritional supplement, and I do like loads of like campaigns for them, and I do a lot of like their PR and stuff like that. And I also present Sweet London FM for a show called The B Word. So we talk about loads of topics and stuff like that. So you can imagine how crazy I am going right now, because I can't go to radio right now because of this corona situation. But yeah, I am currently working full time, but in this situation, I'm working from home, which is cool. A lot of my job, I get to work from home anyways, because again, for Link Up TV, I post a lot of their articles, and I literally manage like 20 writers. So they're literally communicating with me through like WhatsApp and my phone and calling me and emails and etc. So to be fair, this situation hasn't been so much of a change, but I think it's been really, really difficult for me in terms of like Link Up. We film a lot of stuff and we've got a lot of projects coming up, and we can't film because, again, this corona situation. Or in regards to Wicked Gummy Co, there's a lot of shoots that I had prepared that I've had to cancel, and collaborations that I've had to cancel because of the fact that I can't leave my house, or a lot of people are paranoid, every right so, because of this coronavirus. So I'm literally driving myself crazy.
Definitely, no, 100%. We're going to get stuck into that all like in a minute as well. But if Portia, do you want to introduce yourself and let us know like your work situation briefly,
Sure.
before we kind of get stuck into the conversation?
Sure. So I'm Portia Clarke. I do a lot of music marketing consultancy projects like Red Bull Culture Clash. I just delivered the first Red Bull Culture Clash in Jamaica, which comes under Red Bull Latin America. And predominantly most of my business involve live events or working with artists that want to work with brands in the live event programming space. So as you can imagine, with the government, not just in the UK, but where my portfolio includes clients that are overseas, I was in the States and in the Caribbean when the virus broke out, and I had to cut a lot of my meetings short. I'm self-employed and a freelancer. So budgets have been pulled, and just across the board, like doing event management for like O2 Arena, which is also being closed across the whole estate. So my business model has definitely been shaken up because of this horror movie that we're currently living.
Thanks for sharing. And Roberta, do you want to briefly introduce yourself and let us know about your work situation and setup as well? Because I believe that you've recently started up your agency. Is this like before that? What was your situation?
Yeah, so I was employed full-time at MTV and I was there for years, and then I set up my own agency a year ago, which is called Little Pink Book. So it's twofold. So part of it is a music consultancy, and a huge part of that is event sponsorships. So working with clients such as Ministry of Sound, and yeah, Link Up TV actually we've worked with, more on finding sponsors for events. So obviously those conversations have came to a very quick halt, which is where a lot of my it's where a lot of my revenue is, you know. And for that will usually involve shoots and involves events, so a lot of that is on hold as well. So it was a very strange week. I just felt like everything, and I had quite a lot of new business meets in as well, so everything just kind of fell out. My diary of weekend just kind of crumbled. as it has for so many people. And I felt it took me a while to kind of adjust, and then I kind of gave myself just a minute to work things out. But what I'm trying to do is really use my time to work on like little pink book things, to put a newsletter together, to do a deck, and to try and be creative in. And I have a responsibility for my artists as well, to be kind of doing what I can. So be speaking to them about the capabilities they have at home. Can they live stream? What equipment do they have? And trying to find solutions that could maybe hopefully generate exposure and revenue for them, and keep myself busy and sane. So been getting the creative juices flowing.
I think, you know, it's a time where we definitely all have to think outside the box, like even doing this event and doing it online, like I've never done anything like this before, but I think that's one of the exciting things. I guess we can kind of push ourselves to try something different. But with my own setup, I'm classed as self-employed, but I have actually got my own company set up, and I'm director of that. So it's been interesting. I've been kind of waiting to see the government announcement for what they're going to do to support self-employed and employed, and kind of figure out where I fall under it, in which category. With my job, primarily as a music manager, I make the most of my income through commissions basis. So if I don't have my artists earning anything, or if I haven't secured any projects, then I literally have no income coming in for that next period. And what I would tend to do is like map out my as much as I can as a year of my year as possible, and be like, right, well, I know I've got this happening in March, April, May, this is my plan for summer, and this is what we're going to be doing in the last quarter of the year, so I can understand like what income I'm due to have coming in. And there's been times like I've started New Year's and I've had nothing, no plans, nothing, you know, set in stone, and I have to like really get to work and kind of get those activated. And that's what happened this year. Like I had my whole year kind of mapped out and scheduled up till October, and that included live shows for my artists.
I was agreeing with you. I had my whole year fully booked until November. So
Yeah.
like yourself.
No, it's great.
How
as freelancers, that's definitely what we have to do, because I know, Portia, you're in a similar situation to me. You work, you know, it's on a project by project basis, and you know, we can get a paycheck and it might be a really good deal, but we have to figure out, well, how long does this have to last us? And as everybody has over the last 2 weeks, it's just been like another tumbling situation where I just started to get all these emails coming through like, this is cancelled, this is postponed, this is cancelled, and that's directly affecting my income like over the next few months. And I know you know, some freelancers and some self-employed, you know, maybe if we've been doing this a long time, or we're in a more fortunate position, like I do have some savings that might keep me going for a certain amount of a period, but that's not a never-ending pot. And you know, we're in a situation where we don't know where this, whenever this is going to end. So yeah, I just wanted to ask everybody else, like, that's like directly how it's affected me, in terms of like everything's been cancelled, like all my contracts, and that's including stuff that was like due to run online, like sync deals. I had 3 branding deals, they've completely gone. I actually had a contract that was signed and invoiced for, and it's for a big TV commercial that was set to go live in April. And they've emailed this week, and they've said, can we please push the start date back till later on in the year? And that's something that I was thinking, well, at least I've got that one fallback income on, and that will keep me going until, you know, I know what support I'm able to get, or what to do. But definitely I feel for myself as like somebody who is self-employed and is reliant on what commissions I'm going to get in, and everything being completely cancelled. I just have no foreseeable income at all. So I was just interested to find out like everybody's situation. Like Portia, do you want to like speak? 'Cause I think you're in a similar kind of situation to me.
Yeah, so for me, I had my whole year mapped out until November. That involved doing some exec producing on video shoots for different record labels in different countries. They've all been pulled. There has been some light at the end of the tunnel regarding the video shoots and overseeing that from virtual location. I've had live events that have been postponed until further notice, and they have to literally just wait until the O2 Arena opens up their site. Again, like what Nadia was saying, you know, having savings is all good and well, but we haven't got an endless pot of money or savings. There's the whole point of having savings for rainy days, and that's why I've always stressed. I've been self-employed in April, will be 2 years, and I've always said from the beginning it's very important to file your taxes. And one of the sites I felt really helpful was Martin Lewis. He's been very helpful regarding what's been going on and different ways to keep myself busy and restructuring my business. So for example, a lot of what I do is live events and music programming and brands and marketing in regards to the event space and artists. Now, something I've been wanting to do for a while is set up a website. And Nadia's website, Women in Control, has got a step-by-step guide of how to do a website. So as of a couple of days ago, I started on a Word doc, just putting like bullet points of how I want it to look. And it's something I've been saying for a while that I really want to do, and I just haven't had the time to do it. So there has definitely been light at the end of the tunnel, even though my business model has completely had to reshuffle. But I've definitely been using the skill sets that I have and things that I've wanted to do that I haven't been able to do.
Amazing. And Roberta, what about you?
Yeah, so I'm the same as you. So I'm director of a limited company. So I've been speaking to my accountant about, because it's all quite confusing, I find, messaging out there. So I would advise if people do have an accountant to give them a call and hit them up, because they should really be kind of across it and know your situation, because there's so many different ways to be kind of self-employed or freelance. So I would, yeah, and if you are really struggling and like confused, if you can maybe just even have a look on the internet, see if you can schedule a call in with an accountant if you don't have one yourself, because that's really helped me. Because yeah, my income has been cut, yeah, by a lot. And also I would do artist liaison as well at events. So I was in conversation for events around summer, and just a lot of new business. It just was at a time where I was kind of finishing off some projects and going into kind of new business meets, which obviously are all on hold. So it's definitely stressful. I'm fortunate in the fact that I do have some savings, but they are kind of like for a rainy day, and it's just a shame that they're like going to be definitely quite severely depleted, if not totally gone, depending how long it goes for. Whereas that was kind of for my next tax bill or for being able to go away. So it's very much, and I feel a bit, because this is my end of my first year, that I felt like I was really in it. It takes a while to kind of get used to managing your finances in a freelance way, I find. And it's kind of, I felt like I was really getting in. I was being much better at saving. I was like working out how to manage it. Obviously had more income coming in because I've been building for a year, and it just kind of seems to have just crumbled so quickly. But I think it's just trying to be positive. I've just kind of I've set up a Monzo, and I just put in there like what I can spend each week, because at the minute really you don't really need anything. So it's like food. So I'm just kind of trying to really budget, and that's helped, actually, just getting it all down and being like realistically, like how much have I got, what do I need to pay, and all things like that. I have a mortgage, so I'm going to try and just keep that as going as it is. But if people are struggling, you can look into mortgage breaks, and you can also speak to if you rent, you can speak to people as well about having a rent break, because they can apply for a mortgage holiday. So if people are struggling, I would definitely have a look into what your options are there. But from a positive side, what I find is I'm having time to think of ideas, and I think a lot of people are in the same boat. People aren't as well, obviously, in our industry. I feel like people have more time because they're not in internal meetings, they're not traveling, they're not commuting. So I've just been kind of reaching out to people with ideas that I probably I might not have before, that I might not have had the confidence, or I might not have had the time to really kind of develop it in a way I could reach out. So I've just trying to, because with Little Pink Book, similar to Women in Control, I do panels and events. So I was trying to think of ways we can actually kind of help people and do things online, and also kind of reaching out to people to collab with, to kind of, one thing I'm working on building at the minute is how we can get DJ tutorials out there for women to help actually kind of make a move in equalising the industry during this time. So I'm kind of looking into that, and I'm really enjoying having the time to be creative, and be proactive, which it's really helping. The days are going actually quite quickly.
I think, speaking on even the proactive, what you were just saying as well, what I realised on my emails, I get a lot of artists messaging me about doing like loads of like self-isolation videos and like doing freestyles or collaborating with Link Up and getting maybe a follower to get involved in a challenge and stuff like that. So I feel like a lot of people have actually used this time to actually sit down and maybe speak to their fans more, do more collaborations with their followers and stuff like that. So that's what I've seen personally with me.
Yeah, definitely. Wardah, how has it affected like your work day by day?
I think even recently, I actually took them more as a client. So only recently, I was full-time with Wicked Gummy for about a year now. And then I took them on as a client, specifically just as a client. So like literally I'll spend like a few hours every single day 2 months ago. So not a lot of people know that. So I was working from home anyways, but I was still going into the office like twice a week. And what I realized is sometimes you can tend to be really, really like comfortable. So it like what I learned recently is I know that I need to come downstairs. I need to do the to-do list rather than sitting in my bed and getting work done because you feel sluggish. So recently I learned to just like do a to-do list, wake up in the morning, still work out and still of course schedule my meetings, make sure I come downstairs where it's actually active, where I feel like I'm getting work done. Because sometimes everyone would think, okay, I'm working from home, it's so easy, you're chilling. But sometimes mentally it can get you into a place where you just feel like you can't be bothered to do anything anymore because you are sitting in your bed, you are chilling, you're in your PJs, and sometimes you can feel like, oh my gosh, I can't be bothered to do anything. So for me, recently, I've learned to kind of just a night before do a to-do list. And again, one of the articles that you posted recently, Nadia, on Women's in Control, obviously shows step by step on how to help yourself working from home. And one of them says that you actually need to put yourself in like a positive space. So I've realized me doing that, I get so much work done when I'm here. Like literally when I'm downstairs in my living room, chilling, I get so much work done. But with Wicked Gummy, again, I do a lot of their PR and their presses and I'll organize shoots and stuff like that. So recently I've had to do a lot of like self-isolation, like collaborations with influencers, which have been quite cool. So again, everyone's using TikTok right now. So I've utilized that by contacting those influencers and collaborating them in terms of like doing things on TikTok and stuff like that. So I think it's been a good place for me in terms of like being really, really creative. Like what can I do in the house that's really creative? I love the fact that everyone's online. And so I don't know, it's got me in a more creative space, definitely.
I love that. I really love that. It's making us definitely all think outside the box and be more creative. I feel like it's definitely going to have more of a financial impact on some of us as opposed to like others. Like similarly to you, Roberta, I've got like a mortgage and I'm like, you know, thinking how long am I going to be able to sustain this? I'm all up for thinking outside the box, but realistically, you know, how many months can I continue on without making income? I did speak to my accountant, like you said, that he was my first point of call. I did put a bunch of resources together on the blog, which I'll send out to everybody afterwards, which kind of broke down what your employer can get, tax breaks and VAT breaks that you can apply for if you've got a company. And I was trying to speak to find out what, you know, is applicable to me. And I was patiently awaiting the self-employment announcement support from the government yesterday. And I felt like before that, I was feeling kind of quietly optimistic about it. And
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, and then when I saw the announcement, I was like, okay, I do think it's great that they are stepping up and are going to give that support to self-employed people, but there are going to be a huge amount of people that are going to fall through this gap where similar situation to yourself, Roberta, where we are not fully classed as self-employed because we have our own companies set up and we're directors of those companies.
On Twitter today, I'm going to send you the link after. There has been a couple companies that have put some sort of funding for people that are in your situation, Roberta's situation, and you have to apply, and it's obviously case by case, and they have certain measures. But I did think about both of you when I saw the tweet, so I will share it with both of you after. But there are a couple of like different funding pots that have now started to emerge because a lot of people are in that situation. So I will share it with you guys after, and you might want to share
it, and then I'll make sure it gets added into like the resources that we send out. But yeah, I feel like that for me, I agree with everybody. I feel like, do you know what? I feel like I've got more time to be creative, and there's lots of positives that are coming out of that. But it's just the time period of this is unknown. So like realistically, if this does carry on for longer than 3 months, even 3 months is going to put a complete strain on me, like financially. But if it is longer than 3 months, like not just myself, but other people that have mortgages, that have rent to pay, like they could literally fall down to like the poverty line and be in a situation where you can't even like pay your bills. So I do feel like I want to make sure, you know, I've had people reach out to me on social media and say that they're in similar kind of situations to me. And you know, if we're not addressing it, and if we're not sharing it, and if we're not making government aware of that and lobbying for support, or like you said, Portia, finding funding sources for these people, like I think it's a time where we all have to come together and make sure that we're sharing our resources and we can help those that are in need. And that's why I feel like even doing this is really important. It's really important for us all to connect and understand, oh, well, you know, Roberta's going through this, and if I hear of something that can help maybe your situation, I can pass it on. Or, you know, if there's like freelance jobs or opportunities, we can all like share them out and try and help each other along with this. But yeah, there's like no time period set to this. At the minute, I'm not set to get any financial support whatsoever. On the positive side, I do feel like, yeah, I'm taking a lot more time to do the stuff that I love. I feel like it's kind of like the world's been given like a reset button in a way. Like we're all just having to like go back into like basics and kind of figure out, you know, do I need to buy all those clothes that I was buying? I'd actually stopped buying and pledged to not buy any new clothes this year. I'm not going to buy clothes. But this was before it all started. And I was like, but now it's like, we actually can't because the shops are all closed. And then it's like, do you actually need those things? You know, I was talking to you ladies yesterday when we were doing the rehearsal, and I was talking about my roots, which like I'm really paranoid about, but it's like, I actually pay £250 every 4 to 6 weeks to get my roots done. And then I get that everybody's trying to like do virtual stuff online, but they've messaged me and they said that basically that I should do my like hair myself. They're going to send me a kit for me to bleach my hair myself. And that's fine, but it's going to cost like £25. So if I can manage to do my hair myself, then moving forward, why am I going to go and pay them £250 to like do my hair every time? But I feel like it's just taking us all back to basics and being like, hold on, restructuring what is actually the necessities in life? What do I actually need to survive on? And obviously I recently started the Women in Control website, and trying to do that, like you said, Portia, for yourself, even trying to find the time to make your website and trying to find the time to put those resources up there, it is really time consuming. And I'm really embracing this free time that I have.
There are a few places, so PRS, we spoke about this briefly yesterday, but PRS are looking for assessors, so they pay you per application that comes in for PRS funding. So it's worth, if you look at PRS music assessors, just Google that, it'll come up. So I've applied for that, just, you know, hopefully that can maybe generate a bit of extra income. And then just keeping an eye on job sites. There seems to be quite a lot of things coming in that are people who are hiring for remote. And I think as we kind of navigate this, different roles will come up as companies are adjusting. So I think the dots are doing quite a lot for freelancers and trying to create a hub. So I would definitely recommend getting on there and creating a profile if people don't already, and seeing what's out there. Doors open. I've seen quite a few things come up for people looking for people who are remote, which obviously is everyone, but in our industry who are looking for new roles, which is great. So I'd recommend then, and just keep your eye on. There's another one as well called Music Jobs UK. I think you have to pay. It's about £5 a month, but I would actually recommend it because I get so many roles through there all the time. So I think just to kind of definitely keep your eye on platforms like that and see what's coming through. I'm doing the same, and there are things that are coming through, and I've seen actually more in the last couple of days, and I feel like there will be more next week. So yeah, there's some places I would recommend to look, that I've definitely seen things happening on.
I definitely think that over the next few weeks, that's probably what's going to happen. Like, I feel like people and companies are going to have to look at their budgets and like think about how they're going to spend them in a different way and readjust to like making their businesses more online. So I think it is about being more open to the roles and the work that you're going to be open to taking and what options are available to you. I'm also compiling like a list of information for freelancers, and there's other websites like Upwork that you can sign up to and create a profile. And if you have certain skills, maybe graphic design or any web skills, web design, and even virtual PAs. And like you said, Roberta, the PRS were doing the assessors. They asked for people to come forward for that, and I think they were offering like £3 per application, and then it's like 10 minutes per application, and then there's a option moving on from that if you're doing well with the applications that you can get more money. So I think definitely more companies are going to be, you know, expanding and opening different ways up for like people to kind of get involved. And there's also different places online that you can like look to kind of create yourself as like a virtual service, and we'll see a lot more service industries moving along that way. Like my hairdressers, like even I think it's even interesting that they, as a hair salon, you think that that is a in-person treatment that you have to go to. I think it's really great that they are like trying to make that a virtual experience and trying to still keep their business going. So definitely I think it's going to push us all to be like more innovative and try to like think outside the box and like do different things. And I wanted to go on, sorry.
I was going to say it's definitely I think I've spoken to a few people who feel a bit kind of like under pressure as well, that we have to be doing all of this, and I think it is very overwhelming, and there are genuine like huge financial struggles for a lot of people, and that's going to be like having a maybe people at the point where the financial stress is so much that they're not in a place to be creative at the moment. So I think it's kind of important that if you can do that and you're in a place where you can really do that, then amazing. But also if you just need a day or a couple of days to not do anything and just have a minute to adjust, I think it's important. I think everyone's on Instagram doing all their workouts and all this, and I think it's amazing mental health. But then I've spoken to a couple of people who felt that they feel under pressure that they need to be learning Spanish and being where it's like, just if you need a day just to sit on the sofa and eat some biscuits and just be a bit like, what the fuck is actually happening, then I think it's important to to take that time as well.
And what I like about this as well, sorry, Nadia, I think is like I feel like there's a sense of like a community as well. Like I feel like everyone is, like, no disrespect, but I feel like we're all in our own little bubble, that this has actually made us actually talk to each other about situations, which I think is really cool, because it's literally formed some sort of like community, which I like.
And follow up from Roberta.
Sorry, Portia, you're having technical issues, so yours is like just freezing on you, so bless you. But yeah, no, I was going to say, like, I definitely feel like mirroring what Wardah said, like it's created like a sense of community. And also what Roberta said, it's just like I have been enjoying this time, because I just feel like I've been in like a rat race for like years and years and years, and I've constantly just felt so much pressure. Hi Portia. I felt so much pressure to like be on board, like you've got to do your social media, you've got to do this, you've got to be like not non-stop like every single day. So I am enjoying the time to be like, okay, do you know what, this is the time to take a breather, like I said, have a reset and like think about the things that are most important to you. I do agree with Roberta in the fact that don't feel pressurized by looking at other people and doing what they're doing. I've just been really taking the time to like pursue and do things that I love, and I'm actually so much happier, even though I've got this massive financial stress and burden like on the side there that I'm just like trying to ignore at the minute. But I'm just like, do you know what? I'm actually like really embracing this time and like trying to learn new skills and trying to do like follow passion projects and do things that I love. And I think that's like a really positive thing that can come out of this. Like hopefully, when we start back up again to normality, we are able to keep these things that we actually learn to love doing back into our like daily lives, because that is what life is about. Like I've always said, you have to follow your passions and work and do something that you love, because you work 80% of your life. And if we can incorporate more self-care and more things that actually make us happy, then we're all going to be a lot happier in the long run. And I guess it's kind of taken even like the monetary thing out of our life at the minute. We're just kind of in limbo and just living and just like really enjoying every day. And like
I do miss the events occasionally, do you know what I mean? The socializing, miss that, but I guess we've got house parties for that.
That leads me on nicely, because I was going to ask you how you're all dealing with like being isolated.
How do you guys think Wardah's dealing with this at the moment? She's not loving it at all. But you know what? Yeah, what I've realised is that I'm not as social as I thought I was, because even like apps like House Party or like FaceTime, I don't FaceTime that much and I don't House Party that much, but recently I've been speaking to more people through House Party and through FaceTime and talking to people that I haven't spoken to in a long time and stuff like that. So I think it's been good in terms of me like reaching out to people and speaking to people that I haven't spoken in a long time, because there's nothing else a lot of us can do. But then again, I do miss the whole going to events and having a great time with your girls and and again, going to shoots and organising content and stuff like that. I miss all of that. That's always going to be me kind of thing. But yeah, it's been a bit up and down for me. I feel like one day I'm like, okay, cool, I'm loving it, and another day I'll be like, oh my gosh, I hate this. So yeah, I'm 50-50.
Yeah. What about you guys, Roberta? How are you finding like self-isolation?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. If I take it each day at a time, then I'm actually fine. And I kind of do different things in the morning, and then I'll set myself tasks. Then I've been going out for a run. So I'm actually, and then yeah, I've also been saying to my friends that I want to go to a pub quiz for about a year. We've not been, and now I've done like 4, so I'm buzzing. At that, I'm loving all them. Bongos, bingos, I can highly recommend.
They have quizzes and house party as well, just to let you guys know.
Bongos bingo is so fun. They're doing one tonight, I think. Have a look on their Facebook. They're just really great. And then there's one, I think they're called Let's Get Quizzical, but we did a friends pub quiz. But it's actually, I've actually been really enjoying them. It's been quite a fun thing to do in the evening, just trying to like minimise telly. I feel a little bit, because I kind of love just being out and about, and I guess in freelance that's one of the things. And I have friends who live kind of in Amsterdam and around, and I go and stay with them quite a lot. And I was actually meant to be in Amsterdam, I think, last week when we said to go. And if I think about it, one thing for me is, I suppose it's quite a luxury, but I really love traveling and kind of getting out. And I have a lot of things planned, and I don't know when it will happen. So if I think about it in a bigger picture, it makes me feel just a little bit claustrophobic, because I'm so used to just getting out and about, and whether it's around here or kind of traveling. But if day by day, as long as I just keep it day by day, then I'm doing okay, doing good.
And Portia, I don't know how your connection
hopefully my connection's okay, you can all hear me. So for me, I work from home quite a lot, unless I have to go like a client's office or do a couple of hours at a client's office. But I think the part that I miss the most is, as a freelancer, if I'm, for example, in Shoreditch or in Clapham or High Street Kensington, I could message Wardah or Nadia or say like, or my friend, like, are you around? You can grab some lunch, you can grab something to eat, have a little catch up. So that's the part that I miss the most. But if anything, I work from home quite a lot, so that part hasn't been the hardest. It's more the having the odd catch ups and that personal interaction that I miss the most.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I think we've only just started really with the self-isolation, so we're all kind of about it now. Let's just see how things pan out and how long we're stuck inside. But I was saying, as Wardah said, like, I'd actually been working from home for like years and years and years, and the way that I'd got myself accustomed to doing that is by following a routine. And so I never got like stir crazy, or I never felt like I was really stuffy at home, and I always made like a dedicated workspace, always get ready in the morning as if I'm going to work. And I try and keep it as definitely like a separate space in my house. I know like a lot of my family members over the years have been like, oh, you work from home, like it's so easy. There's like definitely some positives that come with it, but there's like definitely you can feel already quite isolated. So going out and like I do like to go to a lot of events as well, so like having that like side just cut off has been like quite tricky for me. How has everybody like found shopping as well? Because obviously panic buying has been like crazy, and I don't really want to be in a supermarket at the minute, especially around like loads of people. But how have you all found it, and how are you surviving, and what are you using?
Usually I online shop for like my groceries and stuff like weekly. I always online shop, but even online shopping has been really difficult. Like online shopping has been really difficult, and for me, I don't like actually going to like the shops and actually buying things because it's long. So when I did actually do it this week, it was probably the worst experience of my life, because there was barely anything there. A lot of the aisles were empty. You guys already know that like I have really a short, like I'm not about that life at all, and it was really difficult for me. So it's like I don't really know what option I have, because I'm always online shopping, but then again when I go to a big store to go and get the things that I need, everything's empty. So yeah, for me it's just been, I think it's fuckery, to be honest. I just think it's a joke. I
went yesterday and to Sainsbury's, and they're doing everyone has to line up now.
Yeah.
And 2 feet away from each other, which was quite interesting. And they're only letting there was like 1 in, 1 out policy. But and only every item up to 3 maximum, other than essentials. So like toilet paper 2 maximum, bleach 2 maximum, pasta 2 maximum, things like that. But they had loads.
Yeah.
Oh, she's gone now.
I found corner shops have but more things like eggs and toilet paper. So like on my road there's a Tesco, but those shelves are empty very quickly. But then kind of the other way there's 3 kind of smaller independent shops on the corner. So, and they actually have been better for things like toilet roll and eggs. So, and I think people are saying that it's good to be kind of supporting them as well. So I've been going there, and then it's fine, just kind of going out and just getting what I need and just trying to think of me. I live with 2 other people, so we've been kind of, we usually just do our own food, but we've been making it's been quite nice actually, because we've been ended up making meals for each other. So we'll be like, oh, I'll do tea tonight, and then we've actually been sitting down and having dinner together and making meals. So that side of it's been nice, because we don't actually do that. So I think going to if you're really struggling and you really need something, maybe try some of the independent corner shops. I found they seem to be actually better stocked.
Is the corner shops near your house as well only like 2 people are allowed to go in and stuff like that? Is it like that as well with you guys?
There actually hasn't really been anyone in when I've gone. I saw there was a queue outside Tesco, which was 1 in, 1 out. A couple of Tesco's I've seen, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, same. I've been avoiding like the big shops, the Tesco's and the Sainsbury's, and I've just been using like local stores near to me, and their local supermarkets. They have been fully stocked of everything, apart from eggs. So I haven't been able to get eggs for like a while. I normally do my shopping online, and I haven't been able to get onto Ocado. I think I queued for like 2 hours, and then I had to do another queue to log in, and then didn't get any booking slots, which is just insane. And then obviously the government guidelines are everybody do your shopping online, try and not go out, and I'm trying to follow those, but I can't actually get any food. I managed to like book an online delivery for next week, I think, with Waitrose, but I booked that like 2.5 weeks ago. And then
wow,
that's it. So I don't know what I'm doing past that, but yeah.
Because I think that was the advice, and I do all the shopping online as well usually. But then I feel a bit like guilty, because I'm like, if I'm getting a slot, is that a slot that like an old person been trying to get, or that? I know their advice is for us to do it online so we're not out, but because there are so few slots, I'm a bit like, well, should I really be the one taking that slot? I don't really know, but I know that is the advice. So it's a bit of a funny one. I can't work out what's best.
No, I definitely think it's like at this time, it's something that we all need to be aware of. Like, you know, especially like Wardah said, I feel like it is more of a sense of community and helping everybody out. So I feel like just being aware of like in like your local area, like reaching out to neighbors or any vulnerable people that you know. Like I feel like if we all are responsible for doing that in our areas, maybe we can just help one neighbor and try and get them any supplies that they need, or even if it's just somebody for them to talk to. So I also have put that on my guides to self-isolation as well on my blog. So like I said, I will share all the resources, and Roberta, you mentioned some like really good pub quizzes and stuff, so I'm definitely going to try those out. And I've been definitely trying to like embrace like a lot more technology to like keep in touch with people over this period. So I have 5 sisters, and you know, we all don't live together, and not been able to see them and hang out like we normally get together and do like board game nights or something. So we did all join house party, and then we've been like actually probably speaking to each other more than we used to, because then we're interacting face to face, and it's been really nice. I've been like jumping on there and doing that with them, and even Zoom, like this is being hosted through Zoom. So just even jumping on this, I feel like it's really nice for us to even like have this conversation, because I just feel like having like a face-to-face visual conversation with somebody like really helps and makes you feel like a lot more connected and like in tune with everybody and what's going on. So I feel like trying to do those things, like to not isolate yourself completely, to still stay in touch with everybody, to find out what's going on, and like share those resources and tips. Like if you did do a really cool pub quiz, like, you know, share that on and invite other people to kind of to join in with you as well. So I think that's like really important during this time. And then just before we finish up and go to questions, I just wanted to remind everybody that who is on, if you want to submit some questions, like do it in the chat or do it in the Q&A panel. And I'd love if any of you guys would like to come on live and ask us the question. Obviously, there's no pressure to do that at all, but if you do want to like join in and come on live and then like share your own personal circumstances or ask a question in that way, then just let me know and I can add you actually into the panel as well. But just in terms of like questions to the panelists, I just wanted to like find out like, so how are you guys, you know, planning to overcome this? Like, what are you thinking about in terms of the future? I know we've kind of touched on it, like what positives and negatives do you think are going to come from this? Like, Wardah, do you want to start?
Positives and negatives. I think the positives, I'm going to think about the positives aspects in this. I think our industry is really fast paced and it's actually going to get us to sit down and actually rethink everything. Like you said before, it's basically like we've got a reset button, and I feel like the positive aspect, even though I'm punching myself and I'm just gritting my teeth, I think the positive aspect is I am talking to people that I haven't spoken to in a long time, or I am reaching out and networking, like Roberta said, in terms of like LinkedIn and stuff like that. And I am thinking about more creative things, whereas before I was always on the go, that there were things that I never had time to do. So I think the positive in this for me would be, it's just I've actually got time to sit down and reevaluate everything, and I think a lot of people needed that as well. Also, negatives, I don't really know a negative at the moment yet.
And Roberta?
Yeah, I think it's been good with regards to connecting people, whether that's kind of being career-wise or with friends and family. My parents have just told me that they've got a house party and they want to do one tonight, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, but I think one thing for me, it has actually shown the kind of I suppose almost like the fragile nature of being a freelancer, because I was definitely like Little Pink Book was at its kind of, I felt like it was really at its like peak of like, I felt the year's work had really come into fruition and I was like feeling really positive and that was in a really strong place. And then literally in kind of 5 days, it's just, I feel like it would be kind of starting from scratch really once this is done. So I think it's just kind of thinking long term, is freelance life kind of, is that the way I want to go long term? And I think it's just kind of a bit of it does kind of make you think about kind of your options and about kind of what stability means and different that. But I think it's just kind of, it has kind of really shown that like, wow, it kind of, and I suppose with this, well, what we're saying, that it's been really difficult to find out actually what support we can get in times like this, and it has been it's been kind of thought-provoking, I think, in that way for long-term planning.
Yeah, definitely. And Portia, what about yourself?
I think one of the positives that's definitely come out of it, a lot of freelancers and people who are self-employed are starting to educate each other. So for example, I think in a negative way, some people kind of overlooked it, like I'm getting money next month or I have a contract confirmed, while there were others who were always saving in the background and was it passing on that knowledge about filing your taxes, and was it passing on the knowledge, save % everything that you get paid, so you do have a little rainy pot. So I think we've been educating each other and having conversations that I feel like in the freelance and self-employed world we don't necessarily have when it comes to things like money. And I'm very, very big on the business side of things. So that's definitely been a positive thing. And something that's going to be doing a lot more of, I think, regarding people who are self-employed and freelance. I think what I've also found very interesting is that recruitment companies are starting to now change the way they recruit. So I've been seeing from Handle and companies like Major Player, they're now doing a lot of recruiting online, even up to second stage interviews, which I think is something that could have been done a very long time ago. So that's something that I think has definitely been interesting. I even think like with the live industry, a lot of like companies start to do things like, even though events have been pushed back, there are still ways that production companies can still do like the rigging in the sense of if they have like site maps, they can still book things in advance. So those sort of like changing the ways of like how the live industry is currently working things, for example, like you can't get shoots done, like you can't fly camera crews to different locations. Is it a situation that once the rules get not as strong as they are now, can they actually use freelancers that are in those local areas? So for example, a lot of projects I do are in Miami, Atlanta, and Jamaica. They can actually use production companies from those markets and build that economy as well, because the whole economy globally, not just in the UK, has been affected by it. So different ways that the live and the production scene can start to work, I think is going to be interesting to see how that starts to shift. And I've already started to see a shift in it as well.
Definitely. No, I think that was a really, really good like summary and really good positive points that have come out of it. Like you said, Portia, I feel like before, and Roberta as well, sorry, we were just like kind of living more kind of day by day and just not really thinking that far ahead in the future, and not understanding like how maybe unstable our positions or our situations were, and maybe we can try and take measures when the situation ends to move forward so that we're not going to be put in those positions. And I think Portia, you highlighted that for anybody that is like looking to start up their business and stuff, to just really like educate yourself and like find out ways of like structuring your business and just taking those steps to make sure that you are going to be protected, so that, you know, making sure that you do go through the official steps of like registering your company or registering yourself as a sole trader, and making sure that you're paying your tax and like declaring your income, because, you know, you can fall back on the government to support you in certain times with financial aid. And I do have starting your own business guide that's a free download on my website as well, that's available. And I'd love to pull all the resources as well, you know, that the ladies have mentioned, and put that all in one document, and would love to share that with everybody. So yeah, like please do let me know if anybody is brave and wants to come up and join us on the video chat. I've had a couple of comments come in already. Just said it was a great panel, thank you so much, I've got to go and do some homeschooling now, but it's been brilliant. And yeah, that's another thing that I've found actually when I've been reaching out to like women in the industry or friends and people that I know, those that have kids, they've now got the added burden of like working from home and trying to like navigate the situation, and also now homeschooling kids. And if you've got young kids running around, like obviously it's like super distracting in terms of like trying to get into a workflow. I feel like for a future one, I'd love to get like a mum on board as well to kind of like give that perspective. And then we've got another question from Shayna, who said, as someone who's looking to move away from full-time employment this year and become self-employed, what would your advice be? I've started my own food blog with a friend, and we were looking to push it for the first part of the year and hoping by the end of the year it would be a full business. I guess, yeah, Roberta or Portia, you could be great to answer this.
Yeah, I think I would use this time to be reaching out to people and build as many connections as possible. And any extra time that you have, just to see how you can build the blog, other people that you can collab with. I think I would maybe wait, and if you kind of can, until everything is more stable and people know what's happening with budgets before maybe like moving over to self-employment. If you are in a position that gives you support at the moment and that is stable, then, and maybe stay in that, and then use your extra time where you're not commuting into that job to really put into building the food blog. So I suppose you can kind of use the time to have best of both worlds, hopefully security with the role you're in and the extra time to keep building. And then when things are a bit more stable, hopefully be at a better place when you then do move over.
I agree with what Roberta said. I think that right now is the time, obviously, to stay in full-time employment. I think the time that you're at home would be perfect to use for a food blog. I'm not sure if it's like a cooking food blog, but I know that I've been cooking. I think I've turned into a chef overnight. So like if it is like a cooking food blog or something of that nature, you know, now would definitely be a time to create and gather all your content, do the business research, and put everything in place. So once this does pass, you will be, you know, months and months ahead of just leaving your job, then start in.
Yeah, I suppose maybe reach out to restaurants who are doing deliveries who didn't used to, or is there anything you can do like that? Can you use the food blog to shine a light on businesses that need some help at the minute, some kind of restaurants who maybe are having to change the way they work, who didn't do delivery before. But is there anything you can do with the food blog that, you know, could you know, have some positivity within your community as well?
Shane, I wanted to ask as well, thank you for the advice, really useful. Following on, as an anxious person, how do you deal with the uncertainty of self-employment?
So I think talking to people really helps. I have CBD. I find CBD really helps. I actually, there's a brand called Oto, which are amazing, and they do roll-ons and they do like night masks. And I actually find, I really enjoy CBD. There's an app, Headspace. I think I use that. I also find just trying to, I think sometimes when you're self-employed, I feel you can literally work every second of every day because there's no, and I'm quite bad for that. So setting screen time on my phone. So actually after a certain time, I can't look at emails or Instagram. That and podcasts. If I'm on a train, like on a commute, I actually will just try and listen to a podcast and just have my phone in my pocket rather than being on all the time, because I've found that that's can be a bit of a trigger for me. And one thing that I found that was a bit of a trigger when you're self-employed and freelance is when I'm a lot better now, but when I first started was comparing myself to others and, oh, how come they got that job, I could have done that, or how come I'm not doing that, or they're working for that brand, I've never even spoke to them, why haven't I spoke to them? And that kind of started making me feel quite anxious, and Instagram is a big part of that. So I think just managing but obviously Instagram can be amazing for finding opportunities. So managing your screen time and kind of maybe unfollowing things if there are certain triggers for you, and just having your own plan and knowing your plan and kind of being very focused on that, and not kind of, I don't know, being like magpied a bit by seeing what other people are doing, because, you know, you don't really know how that's come about or, you know, what their kind of long-term strategy is. So I think keep very focused on yourself and what you're doing. I think that really helped reduce anxiety for me.
Even touching base on Roberta, obviously, I'm not talking in like a freelance or self-employed aspect of things, but in terms of anxiety, I think for me, I kind of just don't go on Instagram at a certain time. So I realized recently I've been going on house party more and talking to my friends and talking to people rather than just being glued on Instagram or being glued on Twitter, because before, when I was on Instagram so much, I would think those things in terms of what if this and why am I not doing this and why am I not doing that. But then when I stopped going on Instagram as much, it's really, really helped me in terms of anxious and comparing myself to other people, because I learned over the time that my journey is different to anyone else's. So the best thing for me was literally calming down on Instagram and calming down on Twitter, because obviously that is my job. For a lot of like the company that I work for, I do have to post for them on Instagram every single day, but I've learned to, like, for a few hours, I just literally get off it and I feel so much better.
I think that's very, very important. I think one of the things I've started to do, tend to listen to the same kind of artists, but what I have been doing is finding new music. And I found that really useful, looking at new music videos. So like, for example, like how music videos are being filmed, new playlists on Spotify, things like that. So I found that really, really, really useful.
Wicked. Now I feel like, you know, everybody kind of suffers from anxiety, and definitely like running your own business and having that pressure does it's always something that's like stressed me out. And similarly to Roberta, I used to find myself just like working non-stop. I would just wake up in the morning, especially working from home, and just start working. I wouldn't stop. I wouldn't even really stop to have a drink of water. I wouldn't even stop for lunch. And then I would work really late at night, and I was like, getting through so much and being really efficient. But after doing that for a certain period of time, like I just burnt myself out and just really wasn't enjoying it anymore. And just like, I feel like it's so important to like factor self-care like into your daily work life. So when I started to incorporate like times that I was going to get up and exercise into my routine in terms of going out, like I said, going for a walk in the park, like even if I'm, you know, if I want to do a light jog, but just having that mental headspace of time just to like zone out, because my work is based on my phone, I'm on the computer, you know, you feel pressurized to, I haven't posted enough content, have I done this, have I done that, have I finished all my emails, and you've got a to-do list and you've not ticked anything off of it. And I used to wake up like most mornings, nearly every morning I would say, like for a majority of my career, with like that feeling, that pit stomach feeling of like, oh, I've got so much to do, and then I would just get on with it. And like one thing that I've changed, and this has only been in the last like year and a half, is regardless of that feeling, going, nope, you're going to go and have a breakfast, you're going to go for a walk in the park, get yourself ready, then come back and then start the work. Like nothing's going to collapse around you, and actually you feel better and more empowered to like deal with those situations after you've done that. So I make sure that I really prioritize like my self-care into like my work. So you know, something that I do like on a weekend, or I'll put like YouTube videos on with like relaxing like music, and I'll have that on in the background, or you know, I just completely zone out from social media. I do have limits on my phone, because I do find that you can just get into the habit of just going on Instagram, and I don't want to be like a zombie sitting there like scrolling all the way through for like hours. So I have time limits on those, and I do go on there just primarily to post. I definitely don't want to get, you know, sucked into anything else. So like I just try and focus on the purpose of going on there, posting, and then like coming off of it straight away. And I think that really helps with like my mental health and self-care, and just, it's just all about really prioritizing. And I think we can definitely use this time that we've all got on our hands now. And you know, like Roberta said, maybe a lot of us might feel pressurized to be like, oh, should we be going and taking, look, somebody's learning this language, they're taking up like so many hobbies, and they're being so proactive, and they're doing workouts every day. Just do whatever is going to make you happy. Like, don't feel guilty to take some time out and just like chill, and just like have a few days where you're just gonna like catch up on your sleep, or just watch movies, and then, you know, slowly come around to like making a to-do list. But I would honestly just really say to like follow your passions and follow your dreams, and those are the things that are going to make you happy, and don't put like unnecessary pressure on yourself. We do have a couple more questions. Nicole Wallace-White has asked, with everyone home on emails and having more time to respond, when is it too soon to reach out and network with industry professionals like yourself, so when we start back there is some potential work and opportunities?
I mean, I've been doing it this week from like I've kind of I changed my deck up, that I actually reached out to all the talent who I work with and asked them what they could do at home and what they were willing to do. And I've actually put a deck together that says then what their actual kind of what they can be doing from home, and some creative ideas. And I've set that out. I guess that's probably more about generating work for now than after, but hopefully from that, and you know, this strike while the iron's hot, I guess, like be sensitive of the people you're reaching out to, and you know, see if you can offer a solution that might be worthy for them, and then it could be a way to then build relationships that will hopefully then continue after this. But I would say I've been having a lot of conversation with brands, and they seem to be this week they're kind of having those conversations of their kind of strategies and stuff. So and it seems to be like that across the industry. People are a bit like, okay, this is it for, you know, the foreseeable, so how are we going to react to that? So I would definitely I would say from now it's a good time to start reaching out to people, because if you don't, someone else will.
And then from Hannah Mersel, actually said something really interesting. She said that, just to touch base on what we were talking about, a petition has just been started for business owners that aren't covered under the self-employment relief, and her accountant sent her the petition to sign up. So I'll make sure again that that's added to all the resources, because that's something that's useful to myself and Roberta, and definitely like a lot more of us out there in the music industry and in business that are set up in this way, that are kind of left out of it. So thanks a lot for sharing that. And just a last one again, Shona's just written in and asked, I know with motivation it's something you enjoy, you'll put time towards, but say with the full-time job and trying to push a side business, what advice can we give here? And how are we going to make sure that once this all dies down, we're going to pick up where we left off, essentially?
For me, before like working full-time and obviously having bits on the side that I was doing, I would dedicate days. So for me, just because I'm being self-isolated and in quarantine or whatever, that's not going to stop me to continue to dedicate, okay, I know that work expect me to put this amount of hours in this, so that's what I'll do. And then what I'll do is the rest of the hours dedicate on this. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's just dedicating hours on what you want to dedicate it to. Mainly for me, it'd be like, okay, so we could go me 3 hours, and then I make the link up, I'll do the odd 2 hours in the morning and the odd 2-3 hours in the evening. So it's just literally dedicating time.
Cool. Well, no, thank you so much to my lovely panelists for joining us. I feel like you've given some really, really good advice. So I will love to get all the resources and tips that you guys have mentioned, and I'm going to put that all in one document together so that we can share that with everybody that joined into the live session. And this session, if you didn't catch it in full, if you joined like midway, I'll be making the full session available online as well, so that you can rewatch it, and we'll be sharing that online as well. So thank you everyone for joining us, and keep in touch, and we'll be doing more soon, and would love if in the future some of you guys would like jump on video as well. That would be really cool. So thanks a lot.
Thank
you.
Bye.